Making life worth living and producing a retirement worth having is really about magic and mayhem of our lives. Usually the magic is when we have success and when finances flow freely. And the mayhem is when we have challenges or things that literally bite into our savings account or take away the income that we're literally working so very hard to produce in our lives for our families and for feeding us and keeping us in shelter and all sorts of things. As in the last audio cast, I talked a little bit about the causes of homelessness and what can literally happen to a person's soul in the way that they lose someone and it sort of impacts their productivity and their performance, and then all of a sudden the bills start rolling in, and then therein lies the challenge that they're not sure how to ask for help. They go and ask for help, they get no help, and then all of a sudden they're homeless. And that's literally what's happened to me, and it was such a surprise because I never thought in my entire world that I would ever be homeless. I also had to learn through intelligent thought how to handle being homeless, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. It might be sort of an interesting thing for you, an intriguing idea, but openly, God forbid this ever happened to you or anyone you know, you can literally help them if you know what to do. There's a lot of churches out there that talk about helping homeless people, but I can't promise that they are really doing the job they should. There's also a lot of shelters that do their best to help people, but there's not enough of them. There's not enough of them for men, and there's certainly not enough of them that give individualized rooms so that people can protect their property, their personhood, and their paperwork from the theft that literally goes on a regular basis in those places when they have group rooms and bunk houses and things that really are not appropriate to men and women of any reasonable age. People deserve to have the privacy of their bodies and their belongings and not have to be pilfered from. They need to have a lock with a key where the person can basically do some work to keep the room. But that's the beginning of that. When I'm talking about how to survive homelessness, I'm really talking about what do you do with your stuff? How do you handle it? Well, if you've got money still, the best thing to do is immediately put everything in storage, but really thoroughly research the storage place because there's a lot of theft that literally goes on in those places by the managers of those places. And I've seen it now several times in the Indianapolis area, and it's appalling, absolutely dumbfounding that the people who we're giving our trust to would actually open our locks with ease of being locksmiths and take our belongings out and go, I think I'll sell this to make money, or I think I'll give this to Aunt Sally. And you're just like, are you absolutely kidding me? I can't believe this. I would never dream of going into your home and saying, I'd like that and that and that and that, and I'm just going to take it off and do with it what I will. That's kind of back to the old prospecting days where people literally would find mines and they would talk about it, and then after a night of drinking, they'd get shot and someone would take over their entire stuff. This is not the Wild Wild West, and we have rules in this American society about what is our personhood, what is our property, and what is our paperwork. And we're going to talk more about that as we go on, but let's talk about how to survive homelessness. There are some really important factors with homelessness, and this is something I've literally learned the hard way. Sometimes the easy way, sometimes it was gifted to me, but other than that, I really got a little bit more feeling of what you need to know about homelessness. The first hardest part of homelessness is the twofold. It's where do I go to the bathroom safely, and how do I shower safely? So in terms of going to the bathroom safely, you can literally usually go into any restaurant as long as you're reasonably well dressed and use the toilet and not have to purchase one little thing. Most people are also concerned with where do we shower? How do I shower safely? The best place to go shower is a Love's truck stop. They literally have good people that are really respectful, that don't make fun of you because you need a shower. The truckers are in and out all the time, so you just have to be conscientious of the people who are around you. And literally, you should always ask God when's the best time to go. If you get the impression that it's not the right time to go in your soul, don't go. There might be people afoot who are predators trying to steal things from cars and other little things, and you don't want to do that. You want to go at a time when there are good people on duty and when there are a lot of people around so that you're not personally alone in those showers. You definitely have a lock on the door, and that's great. There's a few things that I would make a little different about them, particularly in the local Noblesville and Hamilton County area, and that they really need a shower curtain. Some of the other Loves in other places have shower curtains, and that's such a blessing because you feel a little exposed if somebody were to accidentally open the door, or if a staff member would open the door, or if someone else who doesn't really have the right to open the door opens the door. You don't want to be standing there buck naked in front of somebody you don't know, and you really want to have a table of some sort closer to the shower so you can put your belongings on it and feel like they're secure, that if someone does come in, you got half a chance to put some clothes on quickly and protect your belongings and protect your life perhaps. So that would be the slight change I would make there. And literally you can handle going without a shower honestly for about a week. I've gone much longer sometimes, and I'm sure I'd smell like it, but you know what? If I'm living by myself and I'm not doing a lot of socialization, who the hell's going to know? I know, and at some point your body goes, hey dude, it's time to take a shower. And then your body literally will tell you it's time. because you need the water for the hair on your body to grow. You need the cellular health regeneration, and you openly need to slough off the skin that's been produced in that period of time. It is possible to go longer, but you have to have soap, and that's the lovely thing about the Love's Place. You don't have to have towels, you don't have to have soap, you don't have to have shampoo. They will provide it all for you for that little $10 that you're going to spend. So if you're living on a budget, you have to sparingly use that money, and that's important. They also usually have good food at quality prices and a lot of other little knick-knacky things that help you to kind of produce a life. The second thing that's most important in terms of homelessness is you've got to have a good quality can opener. And I mean seriously, one of those $15 to $20 can openers that are buck tough, that if you open a can, it will always open the can. Those little cheap dollar store can openers will only last a little while, and then you end up spending a whole bunch of dollars on those can openers. Get yourself a good quality, American Standard is my favorite, can opener. Because in order to keep the cost low on food, you've got to learn to eat out of cans. There's no way you can do a fast food diet. I did that for a while. I spent money, but it still was much more expensive than spending $3 to $4 on food a day. Think about that. $3 to $4 on food every single day with just enough protein, just enough vegetables, just enough a little bit of everything to keep yourself healthy and slim down a little bit. And that's okay. Bodies can handle that. The next important thing that you literally need to do is find a good quality water source. If you can have a good water bottle that you can reproduce water in, that's good. But the trick is you've got to make sure you're getting bottles that won't leak, that won't literally perspire so much that you lose all the water out of them. That's important. You've got to find a way to get liquids all the time so that you can continue to have good cellular health. Now, another thing that's important to homelessness is having a good solid blanket in the vehicle, because some nights, even in the summer, get cool. You've got to have a way to keep yourself organized. So plastic tubs in a vehicle over bags that can be picked up easily and carried off by the predators who wait at different places while you go in and use the lavatory really need to be clear so that you can quickly see, I've got all my belongings, or you can quickly see what some police officer has pilfered while you were in a shop. And it's usually them, because who else can unlock a door? Now, that doesn't mean application can't be used by teenagers to unlock a door, but that's not the point. It's a total felony if they do it. If someone else in an official capacity does it, nobody questions them, and they just assume it's something going on within a family, like, oh, maybe there's a parent that's a police officer, or maybe there's a spouse that is one. But that's not the point. The reality is that they don't get paid a lot, and I'm not insulting them. I'm just saying, hey, there is theft in every profession, and we've got to stop it all. Now, when it comes time to literally talking about other people's lives, we have to really look at how to help them. And that's what we're talking about with homelessness. In homelessness, there's only a few ways to help a homeless person. You literally give them a physical job to make ends meet so that they can purchase or rent another home. 2, you help them to connect with someone who is a resource of jobs, truly jobs, not some job program that doesn't produce any damn result other than bridge jobs. You cannot get back totally on your feet professionally in a bridge job. You lose life also spiritually in a bridge job, because most of the people who are in retail, no offense, don't really want to go much elsewhere. Now, that doesn't mean it's not a good job, but the regular workers are not inclined to talk intelligently about life, to have quality social skills, and literally can shit all over you because you might be educated and they're not. So that's a dangerous social game, and it feels like high school to most of us, and that's annoying as hell. There are also literally bosses who will lie about your time cards and make sure you lose money and do all sorts of other things to you, and that's a sadness in this world today. That's why we've got to literally start talking about personhood, property, and paperwork at the earliest of ages so that people don't produce liars in this world. Now, when it comes to homelessness, there's some other things to really think about in terms of your life safety and your life savings. It's really important to use things that are different to keep your money in. Try to hide it on your personhood as much as possible, but also to make sure that you're watching your own food intake, that you're never leaving food out, you're never leaving beverages out. And I've talked about this a lot. Never leave a beverage in a car. It is open target for someone who knows how to unlock a car and put something in it to make you pass out, and they'll steal all your belongings or do worse to you. Because unfortunately, theft is the gateway sin. And once people steal from you, they're open to just about doing any other little thing to you, and that's a scary place in society today. Now, when it comes to anything else with regard to homelessness, modesty is always the best policy. Don't be overtly dressed all the time. Wear good, comfortable shoes. Wear clothing that you can quickly wash easily enough at a local laundromat. And frankly, you can do a load of laundry for basically $2, $2.50 at most in some better places. But in truth, you can literally air dry all your clothes in the car with the windows open. They will dry with the sun, they will dry with the air flowing through, And yeah, it's a little bit annoying to have that moisture in the car, but sometimes you need a little extra moisture in the car anyway at night to keep your own body moist, and that's important. You can also put on wet clothes. Now that sounds strange to you, but in truth, if you're not showering as much as you normally do, you might start to lose hair, which can be a scary process for anybody who loves the hair on their bodies. Whether you're talking about the hair on your head, literally, or the hair all over a man's body that typically produced from his growth in life. Now, what we're talking about with homelessness is really about how to survive it, how to handle it, and how not to be taken from during that homeless time. What I mean by taken from is literally the fact that there are people who will crap all over you because you become homeless. They're shocked, they're appalled, they're offended. They think, how the hell did that happen? But they don't really take the time to ask. They don't really care enough to know. And frankly, they're really just prying just enough to then go, okay, I don't need to have any responsibilities here. That's not really true. In life, the professionals in our lives have some responsibilities. And I don't mean they're responsible for paying our life. What I mean is that they literally do have networks of people that could help people get out of homelessness much faster if they just put them to work. Churches in particular, these mega churches with 7 to 10,000 people, I am appalled at their homeless program. The truth is there's got to be somebody in that church who owns a business who practically can say, you know what, I can afford to create another job, or literally, I've got a job here. Let's just bring him in and see how he does, or see how she does. And literally, that changes the world. So that's something we need to all think about. Now, when it comes to managing homelessness, it's really about eating, sleeping, and pooping most of the time, and then getting online with technology. That's pretty much what a professional has to deal with most of the time, is how do I stay employed, how to keep money coming in to keep myself fed and clothed and clean. And that's the reality. So when it comes to food, the Dollar General store is my favorite place to shop. Yes, I do buy a few things at the dollar store, but the quality at the Dollar General store is great. The food in the cans is superb, especially from Clover Valley. Can't get over how good the food is in those cans. Sometimes better than the stuff that you'd buy at the regular stores. And I don't mean that other stores aren't regular and that Dollar General's not regular. It's just that you're treated with dignity and respect most of the time at a Dollar General. There's no attitudinal employee behind the counter. They're usually good, clean, hardworking folks who just help people. That's their attitude, and I really like that about them. You can also definitely produce really inexpensive foods in bulk there without a lot of problem. So if you have a good cooler that has wheels on it, I highly encourage a cooler with wheels in your vehicle that you can literally put things in to keep cool. One cool beverage might keep an entire bit of food for the day carefully cooled, so that you don't get sick and from illness and other things. It's also important to have a place to put canned goods if you have the ability to have bulk foods in your car. If you don't, shopping day by day is the best way to handle things. It allows you to have different flavors, it allows you to pick different foods, it allows you to give variety to yourself, and allows you to keep costs low. It also keeps people, when you have a car problem, from stealing your food. I literally got my tires changed, and somebody stole my food for the day out of a bin in the front seat. And I was really kind of pissed about that because it was literally some of the last bit of food that I had for that week. And I was literally on a budget because car tires were not cheap. But that's the story of my life. Now, when it comes to talking about homeless people, be very thoughtful about what you're saying. You have no way to know what caused them to become homeless. If it's really truly a vice of alcoholism or drug use or blah, 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 I understand your attitudes towards that. But when it's a man who's literally lost the love of his life and cannot function because he can't even fathom life without her, get over it. You're not God. You can't see his heart, mind, and soul. And if he tells you that's what happened, it's the truth for him. It's the absolute truth for him that the girl that he met, the girl of his dreams, literally said no to him. And he just was like, how do I function without her in my life, even as my friend? Even as a soulful person that I can talk to on a regular basis like we always did. And that's something I can talk about truthfully. That's how I felt, and that's what happened to me. I'd also lost my life partner prior to that, meeting that girl, and it was just outrageous. And I lost a soulmate. So when you lose the most significant people in your life, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to emotionally process. And then if you got family crapping all over you, it makes it even worse. So that's the story. Now, when it comes to homelessness, what else can you do to help them? Besides using your networks to just open the door for people and allow them to walk through if the door will open at all, is to simply help them provide themselves with canned foods. Canned foods that open with a freedom of the, flip up top can where it can peel back on its own are good. Quality chicken, quality ham, quality pork, things like that. Those sorts of small individual size cans are great. Ravioli and other type of noodle from Chef Boyardee and those sort of places, or their kind of knockoff programs, are also great. Why? Because they can be eaten when they're cold. A lot of these programs that help people who are struggling financially don't give out food that can be eaten as is without having to cook it. I've gone to a couple programs to pick up some canned foods when I was low on money, and I couldn't take half the stuff they wanted to offer because I didn't have a stove. Don't even have a crock pot anymore because I think I gave my little crock pot that I used to use in college to someone in the family and I never got it back. Loaned it to her for a job or something. But anyway, the car can produce enough to cook something like that in a small crock pot, and that might be something else. Individualized crock pots for people. The other thing that people like to have in their possession would be some cleaning supplies. Not a lot. Something sort of hand sanitation is also good, as well as and a reasonable size. The Dollar General size is good, but also having the opportunities to be able to just talk to people. A homeless person is pretty lonely most of the time. We don't have a lot of people to talk to unless we're trying really hard online or working with our cell phone, but all those things produce a bill. And if we're losing money left and right, we might have to cancel those things. So allowing somebody to use a telephone to make phone calls to get a job might really be one of the greatest kindnesses you can ever give them. Allowing a person who gets stranded because their car broke down to use a telephone without making them feel like crap is a kindness. Yes, there are people out there who are predators. Yes, there are people out there who are liars about whether or not they're really homeless. We've all heard the stories in the news about the guys that stand at the corner and they actually have lush apartments in some place that we would all love to live. But for the most part, a homeless person who says, I'm homeless or I'm dealing with this struggle is probably actually so. And if they smell, then the kindness might be to say, I'd like to give you $10 or I'd like to give you a card to Love's that would allow you to go take a shower. So gift cards is another way to help people, and it makes you feel like you're doing something without harming them. One of the best gift cards you can give a person who's struggling with getting back on their feet are gas cards. Gas cards and food cards at a place like Dollar General. Gift cards. So they can just walk in with dignity and respect and purchase what they literally need. They're easy to carry. It's quick cash capabilities for food, beverages, cleaning supplies, sanitary napkins, or whatever the heck the gal needs. I don't know. But I'm just saying that's the way it is. Now, do you feel like this is a reasonable podcast? Do you feel like this is really a good audio cast? I don't know. But literally, I know a lot about homelessness. I know a lot about how to survive in this crazy world we live in where there are predators literally all around. Especially anything below 71st Street. You're literally looking at who's trying to take my stuff, who's trying to get into my car, and who's trying to prey upon me for something or something else. So it's truly true that the hood is on its way to Hamilton County might be an overstatement, but it is absolutely factual. We do have a lot of infidels here that we have to watch out for, but openly, if you didn't know that already, then you need to watch a little bit more television news. So this has been Blake Ensign of Communications LLC. These are just a few ideas about how to handle homelessness. It's not a perfect list, it's not a great list, but it's a way to help people who are dealing with that struggle. Thanks for listening.